This kid, Minnesota for day 2 of the 50th World Junior Championship. And is Canada taking on Latvia in the first of 2 games here today at 3M Mariucci Arena. Latvians, of course, beat Canada in a shootout last year. Their first ever win against the Canadians. Canada had outscored them 41-4 in 4 previous meetings. And the officials for this game this afternoon are Martin Jobage of Slovakia, Richard Magnusson of Sweden, the linesman, Albert Ankertjerny from Denmark, and Rasmus Stromberg from Sweden. And starting a goal for Canada, Jack Ivankovic. A year to the day after he took the loss against the Latvians in the shootout, he stopped 7 of the 8 shots he faced in that shootout. But Canada did not score in that competition. And Nils Moritz is the goaltender for Latvia, plays in Omaha of the United States Hockey League. Dale Hunter, the head coach of Team Canada for the second time at the World Junior, won gold in 2020 in Czechia. Artis Obels, 5th year coaching the Latvian World Junior team, also an assistant coach with their men's national team and their Olympic program. His son Rodrigo plays for the Philadelphia Flyers in the NHL.
Waiting. Okay, behind the line. Guys, enjoy the moment.
And away we go. Canada is the road team for the second straight game as Ethan McKenzie fires that down, and the play is called icing against the Canadians, who had a wild ride against the Czechs last night. They led the game 3 times, gave up a go-ahead goal to the Czechs in the second period, rallied back with 4 in the third to win it by a score of 7-5.
Plus, with whatever noise drifted into their dressing room today about Porter Martone and whether he might be suspended for his warm-up stuff from yesterday, whatever, the no handshake, all that stuff, they're probably happy just to get the puck dropped and get back to playing.
Sam O'Reilly wins that face-off in the defensive zone. Here's McKenzie with it. A 3-point third period plus 3. Played a ton and was on the ice late with Canada protecting a 1-goal lead. The only player on the Canadian roster who's been eligible to pick in the draft and hasn't been twice. Baudouin tries to work that free for O'Reilly. Here's Baudouin. Centers it and held at the line by McKenzie. Centering pass for Denoyer. He's tied up. And Denoyer works that free. Moves that back in the corner. Brunik tied up in the corner. For Mordiac. Lifted back to center. Baudouin alive there with Harris Sionskis. These Latvian players play all over the place. 14 leagues in 7 countries. Now loose puck to the side of the goal. Blocked back out. Walking right on the quick chance there. For the left. Got turned away. Point blank by Ivankovic. They got a broken stick for Brunik. And the Canadians able to clear the puck out as Gimla works it free. TJ Gimla. And that's stolen away by Bearskow. Latvians also have 14 players back from last year's team. A very small player pool from which to choose. They've got 10 who can return next year in Edmonton and Red Deer. But the Latvians punch above their weight. A couple of years ago, they were bronze medalists at the World Championship. We were there for that in Finland. A remarkable moment for them. And now that shot taken by Vitols is blocked. What a chance there for the Latvians. On the shot by Sradzkas.
That might have been trouble. If Perek didn't get a piece of it, it might have landed right in the back of Ivankovic's jersey and dipped into the net.
There's James Utnant, who plays in the North American Hockey League in Kenai River. Back for that. Leaves it there for Albert Smits. Keep an eye on him. Number 23 for Latvia. 18-year-old defenseman. Just turned 18 in December. Rated by many as a top 10 pick for the upcoming NHL draft. And a big hit there by Kayshawn Aitchison as he leveled Vasilevskis. Lead pass for McKenna, gloved down at the line by Brady Martin, but the play is called offside.
Hasn't been the cleanest start for Canada. A couple of good chances. Brunik, who's so dependable, turns it over to Zalewka. Has a stick broken, and it's a really good save by Ivankovic to keep that out of the net. You have to believe that the forechecker is going to be able to take the puck off you. A little casual by Brunik and bailed out by his goaltender early. And then another turnover Shot goes up in the air. It's going to hit Ivan Kovic, and he's not on the bar, but thank goodness for the hands of Perek to come and butt that one out of harm's way.
Great pass for Horniak. Looks it back down to the Canadian zone. He's behind the goal. Ben Danford works that break. Picked back up. The rink wide pass goes to McKenna from Hayes. Horniak fires that wide to the Canadian goal, and back to pick it up is Danford. Latvia tied the game last year with 2.5 to go in the third period. A shocking result in Ottawa. Here is McKenna. Takes the puck from Danford and winds his way through center ice. McKenna with a head of steam. Drops for the trailer. Perek winding in. Zane Perek has a look. Sends it back in front. That pass just missed Martin. Big hit by Brady Martin as he spilled Delevka. And then another one behind the net, and he took down Vitold. Now Delevka taken down. A penalty coming to Canada. That's going to be Jetlachenko who will go off for a hole. And Latvia's going to get an early power play here as the captain, Riedis, brings it back out. Drops that back to Club's hands. The Latvians have the extra skater out. Discipline was a problem for Canada last year in the tournament. Shorthanded 27 times in 5 games. Well, poked back in front and finally touched up in the corner. And with 4:10 gone here in the opening period, Latvia gets the game's first power play.
You nailed it. Jetlachenko is going to go for the hold in the neutral zone. And trying to get physical, trying to finish some checks, and Lefka slides out, and that's a tackle. Not a hit. Another one you don't want to make it. Gavin McKenna wound it up, setting up Perek, who tries to find Martin in the back door. That's good motion, almost connecting. And that had Gavin McKenna's parents, Crystal and Willie, on the edge of their seat, almost to open the scoring. Canada was pretty good for most of last night's game, not taking penalties. You won't love the neutral zone hold on the Chenko. Ouch. Sam O'Reilly.
Brought in by Osmanis. One of those returnees from last year, plays in Sweden, the All-Svenska, the second league there. Back across, that shot pounded wide by Christer Hansen. Back by Osmanis. Takes the return pass. He's that back across with a sharp angle shot taken there by Saretskas. And Ivan Kovic makes the stop and hangs on. Jack Ivan Kovic in his first year with the Michigan Wolverines in the NCAA, left the Ontario League in the offseason. Having a good year. Michigan 16-4 record for the top-ranked Wolverines. 927 save percentage. Parents Jack and Kelly are here. Sister Morgan looking on. Friends don't let friends be goalie parents.
I'm stressed for them. They look calm. They've seen us before. Jack has had played huge games prior to this one, but man, it can't be easy.
Second round pick of Nashville. Now Cole Rushney works in shorthanded. In comes Rushney. He falls in the corner. And is careful not to get a hand on Albert Spitz. Spitz is playing this year for Jukurit in Finland's top league, the SM Liga, in a big offensive year there. Osmanis works it and shoots, and the glove save made by Ivan Kovic.
See pretty clearly what Latvia's strategy is once they get the offensive zone. They shoot. They're not looking for seams. They're not looking for extra passes. When they have an opportunity to put it to the net, even on the power play, they do not look for the extra pass. So if you're Canada, you got to box out early. Ivan Kovic, be ready for shots from all over the offensive zone.
Canada only shorthanded twice in the game against Czechia last night.
Both Porter Martone in the third.
Right. Baudouin snaps that pass right wide. In comes O'Reilly with a skid. Go backhand shot. And he rolls the rebound wide. As Nils Maurich poked that away. 40 seconds to go on the Latvian power play. Mitchell Delevka plays for Brooks in the BC Hockey League. Plays that in. And picked up by Klubshead. Well, yes, this long shot. Ivan Kovic kicks that free. Another chance short-handed. Baudouin working out with O'Reilly. And Baudouin lays that back down to the Latvian zone and will head off on a change. 20 seconds to go in the Latvian power play. No score here in the first period. Offers Nadic. Works back in. Look at the puck, and the carrying attempt is knocked down. That hard shot was blocked by Braden Coots as Marcus Saratskas wound up and pounded that.
Saw Sam O'Reilly earlier, the nice block short-handed. Little 10-2, gets the angle, and he almost caroms into the goaltender enough to force the puck across. Belefka can't handle him. Puck out the back door. Almost unfortunate for Sam O'Reilly. Not sure if it would have counted with the collision, but good net drive for the captain of the London Knights. Dale Hunter comfortable using him.
Yeah, first round pick of the Edmonton Oilers was traded to the Tampa Bay Lightning for Isaac Howard.
It'd be awkward to get traded before you even get out of your junior career. I guess the new team, you're like, okay, they want me, but I think your first rounder, I'm pretty important to the team that picked me.
Right. Howard's having a big year in the American League for Edmonton.
They trade from to play in the American League, though.
3 shots, Latvians on that power play. Still no score here in the first period. Murnieks. Lines in, he's walked there by Aitchison. Aitchison shoves him down. Poke free, and Misa tried to center that. Now Luchenko works it free. Brought back up by Iginla with Misa. Bouncing puck got away from Iginla. Misa stays on it. Works it free from Martone. Henry pass missed Iginla.
He's got to shoot that puck.
Sionskis almost turned that over. Now Misa does work it free, and the shot by Aitchison was blocked in front. Aitchison back with it. Cross he goes to McKenzie. Works it and shoots. That was blocked. This time by Murnieks. Picked up by Aitchison. Sharp angle shot turned away by Morich. Walking right as Martone with a chance. Morich to stop on that. And at the line, that squeezed by Aitchison back to center. In comes McKenzie the other way as Canada's changing. McKenzie. Martone tapped that pass wide. Now Martone back with it. Porter Martone puts it back across to Aitchison. Sweeps it back in deep as Hage is looking for it. Martone. That pass is picked off and chopped up by Utah. Hage. Winds back in. That pass is picked off and brought back the other way by Utah. By Parak and back down to the Canadian zone as the Latvians begin a change.
Best secret for Canada in the offensive zone, though. Turning pucks over, maintaining possession.
Hage. Slides that back across. Moved in by Martin. Right away by Vitols, who plays in the Latvian league. There are 9 teams in that league now, including the Kiev Capitals of Ukraine who joined that league. The Latvians have had to rebuild their program after Dinamo Riga left the KHL. Their domestic league is returning to form. They have a junior league as well. Brought back up by Saratskas. Moves in and shoots. It's off the foot of Carl. Loose in the corner is Serkins. Taken away by Carls and ahead to McKenna. Up for Martin. In comes Baudouin off the bench. And Martin crisscrossing there with McKenna. Pivots back in the corner. Feeds that back to McKenna with a long shot that drifts wide. Out of the reach of Baudouin. Here's Serkins back with it. Turns it over and a chance for Martin with a shot that was blocked in tight by Christian Sarts. Saratskas drops that back as both teams change. 9 gone here in the opening period. Butzad. Long shoot in. Get it back up by Brunik. He was the rock of the Canadian defense against the Czechs last night. Long lead pass by Reed. Knocked down by Baudouin. He gains possession. Looks down to O'Reilly. Back at the point is Carson Carl. Feeds it back across. Danford a long shot. That's gloved down. Then quickly, Morich pounces on the rebound. 10:34 to go in a scoreless first period at the 2026 World Junior Hockey Championship. All 8 Canadian attempts in the shootout. It ranks as one of the greatest moments in Latvian hockey history. Artis Abols, who's also an assistant coach of the national team, was part of the group that won a bronze medal at the World Championship a couple of years ago in Finland, and said right behind that was that win by the Latvians, which resonated throughout their country.
Well, you don't have a chance against Canada if you're Latvia. Your goaltender is going to have to be special.
Right.
That's what Feldberg's was, and Moritz has that in him today. It hasn't had to be 2 shots through the first 10 minutes for Canada. Not the push that Canada was hoping for to start the game.
Brought around by Albert Schmitz, who played a ton. Icing called against Latvia.
And here is a look of the game-winning shootout shot.
Eric Spateko,
who was good in that game. Finally, somebody scored a goal. Canada couldn't get any. And Kovac had stopped the first 7. Finally was beaten. And Latvia was able to celebrate a unlikely win. A tough loss for Ivan Kovac to take on his track record.
Right.
It wasn't his fault.
Shot the face-off, rolled wide by Ginla, and TJ Ginla back on it. A strong World Junior debut last night. Zane Perek slides it ahead. Misa walks it and shoots. I've been trying to find the stick of McGinley there, and that just missed. Martone plays it back in deep. And Ginla trying to kick that free and does. Misa in there as well. And Schmitz up along the boards. That was knocked down. Then kept alive by Reed. That long shot by Martone. Kicked out by Malrich. Dropped by Misa. In comes Perek. 50 move. Perek. Poke check there by Schmitz. Here comes Perek again. Slides across the top. Long wrist shot. Malrich to save on that. The rebound just skipped away from Ginla. Now Perek comes in again. That pass just missed Ginla. And it's tapped back up by Bruno Osmatis. Reed looks ahead for Martone as Canada returns the attack. The shots are 5 through Latvia here in the first period. The puck loose at center ice. Now it's picked off and brought back in by Vasilevsky. Shoots! And Ivan Kovac makes the save on Antons Vasilevsky. No score here in the first. It's day 2 of the 2026 World Junior Hockey Championship.
Talked pretty openly how last night's game was a tough one for him. He's feeling under the weather. He hasn't scored a goal in a while. He wanted to make a real positive impression, and he did with 2 goals. And now you see the confidence. Look at this pass. Just right on the money. He's a lot like McKenna. Once he gets a little space in the offensive zone, you can just sense something positive is going to happen offensively for Canada. He's got that kind of vision and the hands to go along with it.
9th overall pick to Calgary in 2024. Scored his NHL debut against the Los Angeles Kings. 11 games played this year for Calgary.
Maybe you have to teach a little bit of the defensive side of the game, but you can't teach what he's got on the offensive side. Need to get another second on the clock. It ran 1 down after the quick drop.
Age for the face-off was not his strength yesterday. Lost 10 of his 12 draws and lost that one. Long shot got through, and Ivan Kovac knocks that down with a point shot from the captain, Oskars Brietas. McKenna. In across the line for Hayes. Back to McKenna. He's poke checked there by Rittenais. And at center ice, Burnick back to pick it up. Harrison Burnick, the Calgary native. Spent 3 years with Kamloops in the Western League, now playing for the Pittsburgh Penguins in the NHL. And that shooting was off a stick, up and out of play.
So Zane Perek, we saw 2 goals in last night's game. Well, he's had back-to-back 30-plus goal seasons. And as you mentioned, 2 people in the history of the OHL have done that. Just 2.
2 defensemen.
2 defensemen. Zane Perek and, of course, Bobby Orr.
We're not comparing Zane Perek to Bobby Orr.
We are just comparing the numbers.
Just saying that only 2 guys have had back-to-back 30-goal years as defensemen.
That's a category that has 2 people in it.
Right.
He's one of the 2. That's impressive.
And for whatever reason, and sometimes it's justified, but offensive defensemen always have to deal with the but. Can he defend?
Right.
Paul Coffey, Larry Murphy, you name it. Go through the list over the years. Erik Karlsson. Dropped in the highest slot. Denoye moves in. That shot was blocked. Bounces back. Danford's shot was blocked as well. Swept ahead by Cloudsad. Danford swings back. Moves that to O'Reilly. Canada day off tomorrow. We'll play Denmark in a couple of days' time. This is the last of the back-to-backs for Canada in the preliminary round. Aitchison. Big hit there on Schmitz, who jumped up. Now picked free by Cameron Reid. Drops it back to Aitchison. Back to Reid, the Elmer, Ontario native. Looks ahead for Baudouin, chips that down and goes off on a change.
Latvia's got 4, sometimes 5 defenders stacking around their blue line. And is going to have to find a way to dump it in with speed to get it back.
Sionskis moves that back down. The Canadians on a funny bounce off the end boards. That was more of a dead bounce in the corner. Normally more lively boards here. At the home rink of the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Now fired down. There's a lively bounce off the end. Luchenko gets there. On the forecheck, that was knocked free by Brayden Coots for a moment, as Luchenko has it back. Luchenko scored a short-handed goal in the game against Latvia last year. Has the puck at center ice. Comes that across and is picked off by Mordiaks. Here's Reid. Up ahead to Coots. And Brayden Coots, Vancouver first rounder, fires that in. 13 of the Canadian 14 forwards are first-round picks. The one who isn't, Kevin McKenna, will be in about 7 months. And that'd be first overall pick. Right. Martone, rink wide, finds Iginla. In comes TJ Iginla with a shot that bounces wide, loose at the side of the goal. And Sartz dug that free. Carson Karls back on it, poke free by Delevka. And Delevka taken down by Karl. The puck is under him. And worked free by Karl. Back around to Bruno. Loose in the corner, Bruno. Lifts that high in the air, was batted down by Saratskas. Not shot floated high by Bruno. Loose at the side of the goal with a chance to score.
Did he get a stick on it? Because he got a skate on it. I know that much for sure. Saratskas.
Last touch for Saratskas. Ivan Kovic was waving his arms right away. And the officials are going to take a look here.
Brunic doesn't get it out. There's a shot. Banks off the boards wildly. What a tremendous save. That's not going to count.
That's a kick.
What a save by Ivan Kovic on the first shot, though. This is world-class blocker save. Saratskas intentionally kicks it towards the net and was not able to get the next touch.
And again, the standard is you can direct the puck with your skate. You cannot propel the puck.
Video under review. Decision from the ice is no goal.
Okay. And worth noting, decision on the ice, no goal.
Right.
So they would have to basically see him touch the puck with a skate, with his stick at some point, and he just can't quite get it.
So the referees, Martin Jobagi of Slovakia, Richard Magnuson of Sweden, will take a look in conjunction with the IIHF video supervisor.
Yeah. And there's not much you can do as the offensive player there. It is your instinct to put your skate on it. You're trying to direct it towards where you want it to go, is in the net. He takes a swing, misses it, gives it a kick, and ideally you get the stick out there just for a glancing blow, but Ivan Kovic right on top of it.
He wasn't even up to his feet
Puck
yet.
had it hit the back of the net, and he was already waving it. No, that one's not going to count. He'll be right as they make their ruling right now.
After you do your review, the decision is stand, so we have no goal.
Five and a half to go in the opening period. Jack Kovic was right. Not everyone's happy, but there's no score.
Pride and belonging forged through time and pressure.
Crave starting at $3.99 a month for your first 3 months, and stream the latest blockbusters, Canadian Crave originals, and hit series all in one place on Crave.
Over 10,000 hours of original content.
There you go.
That we are chipping away at here in Minnesota.
I think I might be finished Crave by the end of the month.
That's too bad I got you a 3 month subscription for Christmas. So what this should be for Canada is a wake-up call. First period hasn't been great. They're being outshot. The better chances has almost come to Latvia in the game.
Remember, Perek knocked that puck out of midair.
Yeah, and the turnover by Brunik right to start the game. This is how Latvia gets you. They pounce on your mistakes.
Now a steal by Martin. In with McKenna. Brady Martin shoots. That goes off the stick of Daryl Zelenskis, up and out of play.
It's the right decision, though, because McKenna's on his far side. You want to pass the puck, but you have to make a calculation in your head. Am I going to get the puck to McKenna before McKenna gets caught by the back checker, or do I need to put it to the net to either try to score or create a scramble? The right decision was to shoot it. McKenna was going to be covered by the time the puck got there.
Age of McKenna talking things over. A Michigan centerman to a Penn State winger.
Hayes struggling in the dot. You almost wonder, did they not slide just Martin for his strength in there? Just tell him to be a bull rush.
Ask for Wegovy by name. Visit wegovy.ca for savings.
Hayes lost 10 of his 12 draws last night. Has struggled here early today.
And when you're struggling, maybe you want to go tie, but part of being when you tie it up, you need your wingers to help. And McKenna's not a real dive in and dig winger on the faceoff. He's a slide to the high side to space.
Wins that one. Here's McKenna. Plays that back to Perek. And Perek drops it off to McKenna. Wide through and shoots. That went just wide. The goaltender Morris didn't see it. Now they're backed up by Murnieks. Up to center ice. In comes Osmanis. Puts that down in the Canadian zone as the Latvians got to change it inside 5 to go in a scoreless opening period. Green banks it back down to the Latvian zone. Big hit there by Martin on Sarts. At the line, it's held and kept alive by Perek. Down to Martin. And Martin works that free. Martin. Right across the top, has a look and shoots. That's wide. Banks back to Perek. And Perek dancing across the top. And again. Flips it back across. Reed pounds that shot wide. Hage gathers up the loose puck. And he comes. Hage with a look. Centers it. And missed McKenna with that pass. Serkin's back with it. Up the center ice. Perek knocks it down and feeds out ahead to Hage. O'Reilly jumps in. He bobbled the puck for a moment. Now stolen by McKenna. He was knocked down and a penalty coming to Latvia. As Serkins reached in with a stick, and Canada gets a power play with 3:54 to go in the opening period.
First line got out there for some possession in the offensive zone.
Team Latvia 24 minor penalty. Holding.
And eventually, Serkins gets his stick tied up onto McKenna's skates or stick, and McKenna goes down, and Canada goes to the power play. And Crystal is going to be tired after this game. She is on the edge of her seat watching her son.
It's a long tournament. This is day 2.
Which I would be too. I have nothing but understanding for parents watching their kids play sports. Power play was 1 for 3 last night against Czechia for Canada.
Perek scored the power play goal. He's got it now across to Martone. Now got a Latvia with no stick. And it's a defenseman. Sionskis. Now back in. Misa with a shot that goes off the mask with Lawrence.
Oh, and they're going to get a whistle. That is very convenient. Did the mask pop?
It popped the strap off the mask.
Did it? Did it actually? Or was he just saying he was shaken up? I might have been a Dwayne Rollison caliber delay required. There's no doubt it hits him in the head, and I'm not saying that doesn't hurt. But if the straps don't come off, the goaltenders don't always get that call. I don't see that left strap pop. Oh, no. That helmet was still firmly put on there.
Face off win. Perek works it and shoots the deflected puck, and the rebound skipped away from Martone. Order Martone able to hold the line. Shovels that back down to McGinley. He shortens up and crisscrosses with Luchenko. Fed back to Perek. Walks in, waits, looked across for Luchenko. That pass misfired. McGinley back in the corner with it. Minute 20 to go in the Canadian power play. McGinley plays that back for Misa. The pass missed him and goes back to center. Now Perek slides in. The puck knocked away from him. Luchenko back with it. In for Perek. Misa parked in front. Perek crisscrossing with Martone. Now Misa slides back out. Here's Perek. Long reshot deflected wide. Martone gets to it. Slides that back, and Perek holds the line. Inside a minute to go in the power play. Perek shoots. That was blocked in front by Masievskis. Misa with room to Iginla. Back to Perek. To Iginla. Martone trying to find some space in front. Iginla for Misa. That centering pass was broken up by the goaltender Mauric. 30 seconds to go in the power play. Iginla stays on it. For Misa at the line, that's held. Great play there by Luchenko as the puck rolls on the line and stays in. A centering pass for Perek just missed. And Luchenko back on it. Luchenko centers it. Chance for Iginla. And Mauric makes the stop on that.
No extra penalties being called despite the skirmish in front of the net. Lots of good zone time. Latvia gets tired. They pack it in. They block shots. Correct. We've seen him score a couple from there. We want him to shoot that puck. But good keeps getting opportunities. But Latvia is going to be tight around the front of their net. That's a stick from Naudich that gets back to take a backdoor chance away. And just close calls, but not clean, which is how Latvia would like to keep it on the penalty kill.
11 seconds to go in the Canadian power play. Hage in for the faceoff. I guess Mornieks. And Mornieks wins that. McKenna has the puck skipped by him, and that'll do it for the Canadian power play. 3 shots on goal. The game remains scoreless here inside 2 to go in the first period. McKenzie drops it back to Brunik. And McKenna flips it back down to the Latvian end. As Liljanskis goes back for it. Martin trying to work that free. And Mornieks plays at the center, gloved down by Hage. Hage chips that back down to the Latvian end. Delevka. Now the clearing attempt was knocked down by Brunik. For Martin, back to Brunik. Has a lane and shoots. That was partly blocked by Delevka. On the boards, here's Martin. He shoots, and Macias has gotten away with that. Hage falls, but flies it across to McKenna. Back to Hage. Long shot. Mauric save, rebound. And a good stop there by Mauric on Martin, point blank. The puck bounced over the glass, and now with 59 seconds to go in the period.
That's what Canada will need to do to break down Latvia. Working around the edges, trying to find seams is going to be tough. Shots and rebounds will be available if you can get the puck down to the net. And Hayes finds lots of time. Martin right in there. McKenna beats his guy back to the net. That's where the opportunities are going to be. Pucks lying around the crease on these rebounds from screens, and a good look from Martin. Turned aside.
Now Baudouin for the face-off against Masievskis. Wins that back to Anyway, feeds that back to Danford. Here's O'Reilly. Chips it back across, waiting for it. Here's Baudouin. O'Reilly. Back to Carls. To Danford. A wrist shot was blocked. Goes right back to Danford. Another chance, and Danford's long shot kicked out by Mauric. Carls plays it back in. Baudouin trying to work that free, rings it around. And Danford with it, down to O'Reilly. For Denoyer. Works it back across with a one-time shot by Danford, is kicked away by Mauric. Chipped back in by Ensens. And Danford goes back to pick it up in the dying seconds of the opening period. Danford pivots back. And the teams will go to the dressing room scoreless after the opening 20 minutes. Canada with 10 of the last 12 shots in the opening period.
Make it a frustrating
for Latvia. Scoring chances off the rush, 0. Scoring chances off the cycle,
0.
Scoring chances off turnovers,
4. And that's it. They don't generate anything on their own. They generate what you give them on turnovers. And and they were dangerous in doing so.
Team start the second period, 5-on-5. Baudouin knocks that loose. Cole Baudouin, the very Colts of the OHL. Goes it back to Denier. Shot deflected as McKenzie got that away. Hornets plays it back down the Canadian zone as McKenzie goes back, lost the puck for a moment. Now he tries to regroup. Good chance in tight. Two good chances for the left. Got turned away by Ivan Kovic. And Canada ices the puck.
Start of the first period, Brunick had some trouble behind the net, turned it over for a good chance. Start of the second period, McKenzie has some trouble behind his own net. Thinks he's just going to skate away from a forechecker, and the rebound is a really dangerous chance. Two cracks at it for Delevka. First one's not a tough save, but the rebound he gets to stick to is a little bit more dangerous, and Ivan Kovic had to be sharp to turn that aside. And has got to respect the speed of Latvia when they get on the forecheck.
McKenzie for Denier. In from Brunick. That pass missed. And icing called yet again. So the Latvians are in the top division of the World Junior Championship for the 5th consecutive year. Just 22 indoor rinks. Their best World Junior finish was last year. They lost the quarterfinal matchup to Sweden 3-2. Remember that? They were down early. They battled back, got it close, had some chances late. They had a 5-minute power play late in that game.
We spent a couple of years there in Latvia during some World Championships. Amazing country with so much pride in hockey with only 22 rinks.
Eventually, the Latvians beat Canada in the 2021 World Championship in Riga, but there were COVID restrictions. The building was empty. Although,
which is a shame.
Every cop, firefighter, and ambulance person in Riga, I think, was at that game.
We were very safe.
Misa winds it and shoots. That's kicked out by Mauri. Saraskis plays that back around. And loose at center ice. It's knocked in by Saraskis with a couple of good chances in that opening period. Correct. Up there by Cloud Sands. Correct back would have lost his stick. And that's going to be a penalty.
In his face, and I think he might have got cuts on that hit. And he's a little shaken up. He's spitting out some blood off his. Did the two helmets collide?
Cloud Sands is going to go off. They're not checking Parak.
So they're checking to see if it's a head hit as the referees get together and talk about it. Cloud Sands coming in. Parak pokes it back. I mean, his feet are well off the ice. He's not that high. Feels like a 2-minute minor to me.
Major penalty under review.
There you go.
Well, call it a major. They can review it now and have a look. Now, here's a little bit of the IIHF rule book, an interpretation that if your hit causes a player's head contact, that could be a problem. So, for example, hitting someone and knocking their head in the boards or glass.
Right, so not just what you hit him, but when you hit him into something as well.
Right.
The most damning bit of evidence there is that his skates were both 8 inches off the ice. Right. Now, he didn't leap into him per se. He wasn't way high, but his shoulder and his head were, into the face area of Parak. Also, he's wearing a cage. And from a guy who played with a cage his whole life, you lead with your head a lot when you play with a cage because you don't fear running into things. It was a shoulder that ended up going into the chin.
Looks like it.
I mean, I would always interpret this, Gord. This can only be 2 minutes.
The NHL rule book and the IIHF rule book are essentially merged. Now, there are some subtle differences, but for the most part, they are the same.
But the interpretation of headshots is different. Right. And so I would look at that and think about it too. But with the skates off the ice, with the contact to the head, with Parak not hurt, but injured enough to have a bit of a little blood coming out of his mouth, it wouldn't stun me if this ended up
I would say
5.
This 5 years ago, no question, this is 5 in a game. But the interpretation has, as we said, been moved more to the North American interpretation in recent years.
And you have spoken about also the sense of responsibility for younger people to take care of
you got to protect
teenagers.
You got to protect these young players, and I think
they're not pros yet; they're still teenagers.
There's the call from Yabagi, the referee.
after review of the play, the decision from the ice stats, we have number 8 of Latvia, 5 and game for checking to the head.
So they're calling a headshot.
Yeah.
And Canada will go to a 5-minute power play. As Martin's Clout says, who plays for Sherbrooke in the Quebec League, goes off.
And also worth noting, I guess it's not so much the force of the headshot, but was it actually a headshot? And, of course, Artis Abos will not like the call, but he hit him with his right shoulder in the head. Now, you know, Perek was leaning over. The whole thing reeks of a 2-minute penalty to me, but we can't be surprised even if Latvia is disappointed by the call. And so a power play for Canada. Michael Misa talked about moving around but needing to just get that last quick pass for a great look. They'll have 5 minutes now to rotate through multiple looks of both groups and can score as many times as they can.
Reshny will take the face-off for Canada on the power play. We talked about it last night. Dale Hunter made it clear that's why he's on the power play, is to win that face-off.
A little conversation between that's Aitchison and Reedus having a little chat between the benches.
Canada 1 for 3 on the power play last night. Got the goal from Perek. And Reshny for the face-off. And the Latvians control. Bounce back down the ice, and that generally losing the opening face-off on a power play will cost you 20-25 seconds of zone time. Played back by Martin for Hayes. And Hayes almost poke check there by Serkins. Lead pass finds Martin. Rink wide he goes. Reshny banks it back to Hayes. Hayes back to Prunick and across to McKenna. McKenna feeds that down to Reshny, has a lane and shoots. Scores! There's another reason to go power play. Reshny fires it home and Canada's got a 1-0 lead. And 4:21 left on his 5-minute power play.
Reshny's a high-end player, even if he doesn't play in the power play group. But the step right here, you can one-time that puck or you can move, and he moves quickly to a better angle, and Smits gets into the line of sight as a Sionskis. And you see the goaltender working through both of his defenders, and finally one that gets past the shin pads. We showed all those shot blocks, all those active sticks. You get one through the traffic, goalie can't see it. And most importantly, early in the power play, next group comes out, and maybe you can get a couple here. Stretch it out if you're Canada.
Reshny, the 18-year-old from Macklin, Saskatchewan, a first-round pick of Calgary in the last draft. Playing this year at North Dakota, the NCAA, tied for 5th in freshman points in U.S. college hockey. Here they come again. Iginla working in. Feeds that back to Lachenko from Perek. Perek plays it across to Misa. Back for Perek to Misa. Missed him the one time. And Misa back with it. Misa moves it across. Lachenko back in front for Iginla. It's kicked off his stick. Iginla back around for Misa. Back down to Martone. Now play back to Perek. Perek moves in, shoots from a sharp angle. That deflected wide off the stick of Brietas.
And if you're Canada, be really smart with your sticks for the next few minutes. No cheap hooks, no cheap holds.
Perek back to Lachenko for Perek. Misa chips that back and front for Martone, and the line held by Perek. Back down to Misa. Misa feeds that back. Lachenko looks back in front, goes off the stick and set down the ice by Brietas. Perek. Long lead pass, and that missed Reshny icing called against Canada on the power play.
So the goal-scoring unit gets back on the ice after Reshny opens his goal scoring. And a lot of players, myself included, might have shot the first pass, but he takes it into a better angle with more traffic. And a quick snapper that Reshny likes to see, as does Mum Allison. Happy to see that one get by the goaltender and get Canada on the board.
She spent 3 years with Victoria of the Western League. Now loose of the side of the goal, Maciejewskis. Bumped there by Martin. Picked free by McKenna. Lead pass to Hage in full stride. Michael Hage works in. Taps that back for McKenna. And at the line, Brunick couldn't hold it. Rink wide pass to McKenna. Trying to work that back across. That's picked up and sent down the ice by Serkins.
Don't want to overstay your power play shifts, even if you're frustrated, this group. One more attempt to get it in. If you don't get it in, you get off the ice.
2.5 to go in the 5-minute power play. McKenna flips it back across to Reshny. Reshny feeds that back to Hage. Up for Brunick. Back to McKenna. McKenna long wrist shot. That's deflected as wide. Hage chops it back in front. Martin was looking across for Reshny. That pass misfired. And Delutka sends it back down to the Canadian zone. 2 to go in the 5-minute power play. Brunick drops that back to Hage. He's it back across to McKenna. In for Hage. Whips it back across. Martin shoots. Rich steered that away. Martin back on it. To Iginla. For Brunick. Feeds McKenna. Gavin McKenna. Works back in and shoots, but that high and wide. Here's McKenna. Banks it back to Brunick. Harrison Brunick's shot was blocked in front. And Schmitz racing to that. Bounces it down the ice on the stick of Ivan Kovic. We'll leave it there for Brunick. 80 seconds to go in the 5-minute power play. Martone. Back to Luchenko in full stride. In comes Jeff Luchenko. He's back again on a shot at the goalpost. And Serkin sends it back down the ice.
We saw that release from Iginla yesterday for a goal. That Marin's feet clean right off the bar.
Correct. Up ahead to Iginla. Rink wide for Misa. Misa drops that back to Parak. Looks back to Luchenko. In the corner for Martone. Martone back across to Parak. To the goal off. Misa goes between the legs. Managed to stop, but still loose. Bounces back to Luchenko. 30 seconds to go in the power play. Luchenko in the high slot to Iginla. Rolling puck for Parak. Parak's pass across is picked off and sent out by Serkins. In comes Parak. 20 seconds to go in the power play. Drop back to Misa. Leaves it there for Parak. Swings it back across to Martone. Looks down to Misa. Final seconds now in the power play. Parak with it. In for Misa. That rink wide pass was knocked away by Serkins. Canada, 3 shots in that 5-minute power play, including the goal by Reshny. Misa back after this. Parak slided hard at the blue line with Serkins. Desnoyers for sharp angle. That's blocked. Gathers back up by Flugans. Carlos Flugans. Lines it back across. That's kicked back in front. Taken by Sam O'Reilly.
High hit there on Latvia. Draws the ire of the bench. Osmanis limps off.
Danford out to center ice. Desnoyers works it back across. That goes off a stick and wide. O'Reilly chops at it. Now stepping up is Aitchison. Shoots. That's off a stick. Up and out of play. Cole Reshny from Macklin, Saskatchewan, as Canada had 1-0 here in the second period on day 2 of the 50th World Junior Hockey Championship.
Major for a check to the head. Beaudoin fortunate to have this one not be the end of his night as well, because that is absolutely a check to the head. That is a call that would be made more often than not, and if they could review that, he would be kicked out of the game for that hit. No penalty called on Beaudoin. Canada escapes maybe a 5-minute major of their own.
Artazov Bowles has been active on the Latvian bench. That long shot by McKenzie is blocked and brought back up by Albert Schmitz. A lot of scouts here to watch him. It bounces around to Novich. That long shot taken by Riffinas is stopped by Vinkovic.
Invest with Fidelity, and reaching your goals may just take less time than you think.
So Canada's got one on the power play, but what they really need is the next one. You feel uneasy when a game is within one break, one bounce, one goal against. And they need to find a way to up the pace of their game to grab the next one.
The face off. Carl plays that to center ice. It was knocked down by Schmitz. He's got Baudouin all over him. And O'Reilly swings it back across to Carl. Up ahead to O'Reilly. Swings it back down to the Latvian zone. Malrich up to play it. Leaves it there for Schmitz. He's got Baudouin all over him. And turns it over to Denoyer. Got to feed that back in front. Another chance. And Denoyer put that wide. Denoyer finds room in the slot and shoots. Just missed wide. Picked back up by Rathenais. At the line, Danford held that for a moment. Now moved by him and picked back up by O'Reilly. Sam O'Reilly jumps across the line and shoots. A shot up high of Malrich. He knocked that away. Picked back up by Hage. Hage shoots. Rebound. Loose in front. Malrich makes the stop on that as Hage had two good chances in tight. Now the Latvians ice the puck. Hage is slow to get to his feet after that hard collision with the goalpost.
What a pull in traffic from Michael Hage. Coming off the bench, jumps on a loose puck. Gonna shoot it? Nah, we're gonna slide right by. There's Callens, goes reaching, and Hage goes right past him. Good save by Marich. Or Hage just jumped over top of him, but that was a good glove save. A move in tight from Michael Hage.
Hage went for the face-off. Has now lost 7 of 8 face-offs in the game. So for the tournament, has just 3 face-off wins and 20 draws. McKenna feeds that back.
Brady Martin could be better than 15%. He'd have to be. Tell him to go swing hard at the puck.
Drop back to Hage. Gets the step and shoots, and Malrich knocked that away. Really been the only hole in Hage's game so far.
He's been fantastic, but
Brunick shoots. Malrich makes the stop on that. The rebound bounces back to him.
it's a lot of chase the puck around. You don't want that to happen. Ratskis going a little extra at Brady Martin. I imagine the refs will be a little lenient with Latvia for the next few minutes, coming off the 5-minute major. Latvia doesn't want to tempt fate much more than they already have, giving up 1 power play goal against. Anyway, Michael Hage has been fantastic. He's been driving offense, making plays, generating shots for himself and his line mates, working with McKenna and Martin. But as a centerman, you take pride in that face-off number. I know it's a team event, but you like 15% for the tournament. That's not what you're looking for.
Now Misa for the draw for Canada. Against Roberts Polis. It's a clean face-off win by Misa. Back to Parak. His former junior teammate in Saginaw. Parak winds in, flips it back in front. Martone had that shot blocked. And Parak right back to it. Martone giving it alive. Now Janskus, the only drafted skater on the Latvian team, moves it back out. They're going to call this offside. At the Latvian line, Janskus is an Anaheim 7th-round pick.
And little details of the game. So Misha and Parak play together on the same team. They bring Martone off the wall. You think, well, you're going to pull to Martone for a shot. No. Misha's just pulling it over to the wall because there's nobody near Parak. And what does Parak do when he gets a little time and space? Good stuff. And goes for a wheel and creates an opportunity. Even though it was counterintuitive, you would have thought the shot from Martone, but it was really just get the puck to Parak with little space. Well done.
Back in by Danford. Now runs out to play it. And now Danford's going to get it as he takes down Christian Utmans. Utmans is down in the corner.
Yeah, I know.
And Utmans appears to be cut on the play. We'll see how long the power play is when we come back.
It's the bridge of the nose, and Utnans was injured on the play, leaking pretty badly from his nose. Might have actually broke his nose. Accidental by Danforth, but not controlling his own stick. This got to be a 4-minute. I can't believe he's getting away with 2. Look at Canada's making out on the fortunate side of things on the penalty calls so far. They got a 5. They did not receive a 5 on Baudouin, and this is just a 2. That should have 100% been a 4. Minimum.
So Latvia back to the power play for the second time in the game. Had 3 shots on their first.
They're making the adjustment. Okay,
the
clock said 2. I didn't hear the announcements, and so they got to put 4 on there. Okay, that's the correct call.
Yeah, it is a double minor. So chance for the Latvians to even it up here past the midway point of the second period. Murniak steps in for the face-off. Plays for St. John in the Quebec Maritime Junior League. Once a game, I'll get that wrong. The old Quebec Major Junior League is now the Quebec Maritime Junior League. Has been for a couple of years now. Old habits die hard.
A real opportunity here for Latvia, who has fought to stay in this game. 4 full minutes on the power play.
Pulled free by Osmanis. Works it back across to Schmitz, the power play quarterback. Osmanis. He's down a sharp angle shot by Saratskas. Kicked away in Canada, back short-handed. Baudouin along with O'Reilly. O'Reilly comes in. Gets the 2 defenders, and O'Reilly back on it. Schmitz. Drops that back to Osmanis. Murniak. Saratskas. Now back at the point is Schmitz. Schmitz to Osmanis. Now Schmitz leans on that shot. Ivan Kovic kicks that out. Murniak. In the corner for Ansons. Back at the point is Schmitz. Back to Ansons. And here is Schmitz. Trying again now, Ansons. Long wrist shot. Ivan Kovic save loose in front. And Baudouin's second try can't knock it out. Ansons back across to Schmitz. Can get a shot away. And at the line, Ansons can't hold it. He's got Luchenko all over him. 45 seconds to go in the first minor penalty. As Christers Ansons fires it down, Ivan Kovic plays it along the boards. Reshny. He's there for Brunick and back out to center ice. Bojanskis plays for Flint to the Ontario League. Drop back for Delevka. And poked back out. A chance down for O'Reilly moving in short-handed. He's knocked down. And Delevka has it back. Delevka. Rink wide pass for Sirkins. In the corner for Delevka. Now move back at the point to Janskis. Back across. And Janskis tees it up and shoots. That was blocked by Brunick. Janskis back with it. Shoots again. And this time Ivan Kovic knocks it away. First minor penalty's over. Reshny back on it. And Reshny flips that back down to the Latvian zone. Nottage, who plays here in Minnesota at Shattuck St. Mary's Prep School, peels back in the corner. He'll be going to Penticton in the Western League next year. Delevka. Shoots, blocked in front, loose puck. And Luchenko gets to it, has a chance and pokes that by the tired Delevka. Here comes Luchenko. Drops that back to O'Reilly. And O'Reilly walks right back in front. Lowers makes the stop and has to hang on the drive by Sam O'Reilly shorthanded.
It's good recognition by Sam O'Reilly. He steps off the bench. You said it. He can see Delevska tired. He knows Delevska's a forward. So when you have a chance to attack a tired forward one-on-one, that is exactly what you want to do. And don't take it behind the net, but take it right out in front. Luchenko there as well. And Allen's forced to make a save. Good awareness, a little stop and go. The drive by O'Reilly had one earlier in the game as well. Pretty good first 2:45 of the penalty kill for Canada.
Schmitz. Up ahead to Ansons. Brings it back around for Osmanis. At the point is Schmitz. Works in, has some room. Schmitz with short angle. Ivan Kovic makes a stop on that.
Could shake his head and get a whistle if he wanted.
There was sarcasm there in your voice, Mike.
Frustration for as an offensive player. You chose to play the position.
Not sure it's a free-for-all just because they chose to play goal, but all right.
The Celtics are pretty good now.
Reshnik. Rolling puck, sends it back down the ice. 25 seconds to go in the Latvian power play. Uljanskis. Up for Serkins. Aitchison sends it back down to the final seconds of this Latvian power play.
4 minutes. Canada ran only 4 forwards on the penalty kill. Just 2 units. One guy's been sitting around for a while.
Latvians had 2 shots.
Up the middle. Gone.
Perek was trying to move that up for Martone. Keishon Aitchison tied up. He's taken down behind the goal. Now loose in front, and Perek's got it. And away goes Zane Perek. Has a look across for Martone. And Martone feeds it back down to McGinley. TJ Ginla. Cut up along the boards by Maciejewskis. And Martone back on. Back in for Ginla. Misa feeds that back for Perek. Bouncing puck, centers it. And it's knocked away by Repinice. At the line, Aitchison can't quite hold it for Canada. 5 to go here in the second period. Will they come here tonight? And it'll be Denmark and Czechia. The United States about to get underway against Switzerland in St. Paul. And a lead pass. Chance there for Serkins. He was tied up by Perek and Danford. Here's Misa back on it. Turnover in front. Bounces back to Bearskow. This shot deflected away by Perek. Now knocked down by Serkins. Drops it back, and that quick shot by the left that kicked out by Ivan Kovic. Misa back the other way. Misa drops for Martone. For Martone, a shot that got through. And Mauridge able to make the stop. 4:15 to go here in the second period. Day 2 of the 2026 World Junior Hockey Championship.
Hey, I'm Will Harris.
And the Steelers have to lose out, but they play each other next week.
Okay, so they need a little bit of help, not that much.
They help themselves. Start today.
And look who's taking the face-off for Canada.
Brady Martin instead of Hage.
Asking for swap it up. And now, if you're Hage, I want you on the hash marks. I want you closer because maybe he wins it clean. But to dive in and support.
And that's one cleanly by Berniak. Knocked down by Martin. Going to poke that free to McKenna. On the board, stepping up is Carl to keep that alive. Here is Christiana Sartz. He's in Black Falls, Alberta in the BC Junior League. And off to the races comes Hage along with McKenna. Hage works in to McKenna. Back across for Hage. That was push checked away. Isianskis. McKenna back down low to Hage. Who's behind the Latvian goal? Hage drops it off to McKenna. Feeds that back to Carl along the wrist shot. Now it's the save, and there's no rebound.
Mauridge has been solid.
Yeah, he was the finals MVP of the Latvian League playoffs last year.
You see him with the Omaha Lancer mask on.
It's his first year in the USHL.
But he's given a chance to see the puck. Good seal off by Sianskis. And Mauridge able to get his stick there, or his glove out to it without much worry of a deflection. Manageable save. Game feels a lot like last year's.
It does. I was just thinking the same thing.
In an uncomfortable way if you're a Canadian fan.
If you'd said to Latvia before the game, This will be the situation late in the second period. They take it all day.
You'll be down 1-0, and you'll have taken a 5-minute major. Yeah.
And pass called at center ice, and play is called.
The one thing you have to admire about Latvia, we watch them all the time at the senior level, junior level, is they do have a real collective spirit about them. Of battling together and supporting each other and having to believe in each other because they know they're the underdog in just about every game they play.
And if you pay attention to Latvian history, their country has been occupied for the better part of the last 500 years. And they live next door to a giant in Russia that they have a very tense relationship with at the moment. Their borders essentially closed to Russia. Someone is going to kick that puck free when it finished standing on it.
Just drop his skate, take his skate off. The only thing you can't do there is kick.
Right.
And you can swing with your stick as hard as you want.
Your endorsement of casual violence never ceases to amaze me. Here comes Brunik.
Don't step on it then.
Martone feeds that back. McKenzie to Brunik. Back down to McKinley. Spins and shoots. Orange makes a stop on that. Misa with a chance. It was off the skate. Around the ice. Misa plays it back. Brunik a hard shot. Hit leg in front. That was blocked by Siunskas. And now a race for it. And getting there first is Saratskas for Latvia. McKenzie has the clearing attempt knocked down. Right back across. Saratskas with a chance. Miscued that. Now it dribbles down. Ivankovic knocked that away. And finally, Martone to the line, but not quite out. Lead pass to Martone at center ice. Missed. An icing called against Canada.
All right, I've seen a lot of things over the years in warm-ups. Marcus Saratskas. He comes out for warm-up with a puck taped to his stick so he can warm up his wrist. He goes with his left hand, then he goes just in his right hand. I've never seen this. He's got a puck taped to his stick that's not on the ice. And then it's supposed to warm up your wrist so you don't fan on shots like that. As Saratskas with an unusual start to his game.
Schmidt's a hard shot, knocked out by Ivankovic. And the Latvians applying some pressure late in the period. Hired players on the ice for Canada after the icing. And here's Martone. And this time he lifts it out. Again, poking at it. Martone gains center ice and lifts that down to the Latvian zone as Canada starts to change. Albert Schmitz fires that down with that.
What was that for?
I think they were trying the indirect pass there.
I'm not sure what he was trying to do there. He was nowhere near getting his guy first to the puck, Albert Schmitz, who highly touted draft prospect. He's looking, he's trying to send a flyer, but unfortunately, when you take a slapper, everyone in the building knows what you're doing, so you're not catching anybody off guard, and Reed's got their forward by 30 feet. See if he can make a pay. Hage stepping into the face-off. There we go.
Wins that cleanly.
Yeah, he moved early. I like the effort, though. You just get in there early, you get after it, try different things. Clearly, whatever you're doing is not working. Try different things. And now he's got to be a little timid with the one strike against him.
Vorniaks wins that. Correct, couldn't knock it down. Chance for a 2-on-1 for Latvia. Osmanis walks right in, feeds it the high slot. That shot cute wide by Vorniaks. Correct. Up to McKenna, rink wide to Martin. Brady Martin gets a step. That's stick.
I mean, you throw the guy. You can trip a guy by accident.
Rietas
Dropped the stick right to his feet.
McKenna plays it back across. That's knocked down by Schmitz. And looks ahead for Navich. Swings it back down to Canadian zone. 30 seconds to go in the second period. Here is Cameron Reed, the captain of the Kitchener Rangers of the Ontario League. And Reed fires that down. seconds. And clear that out. Time winds down here in the period. Serkin's back with it. And so Canada breaks it open on a 5-minute power play. The goal by Cole Reshney makes it 1-0 after 40 minutes. Cole Reshney has his first of the World Junior Championship. Another assist for Gavin McKenna, who's got 3 so far. And Canada shooting Latvia 25-18, a 1-0 lead after one period of play. The first anniversary of Latvia beating Canada in a shootout last year. Gordon Miller back here with Mike Johnson. Canada's 2 for 5 in the power play so far in the tournament, 5 for 5 in the penalty kill.
You'd think a special teams game would benefit Canada. That 5-on-5, Latvia would need all their defenders. And once you get to a man up, you'd be advantage Canada. And yes, they did score their 1 goal, Cole Reshney on the power play, but it was in the first minute of a 5-minute major. And for the remaining 4 minutes, Canada did not generate nearly as much quality or quantity that they would have wanted. They certainly obviously didn't score again. So they need to improve on that, even though they got 1. On the flip side, the penalty kill, excellent. They had a double minor of their own to kill off. They used the same 4 forwards and rotated the same defenseman through. So not a lot of guys involved, but the guys that were did a really good job up ice, blocking shots, and keeping Latvia off the board. So the defensive part of the special teams working for Canada in this one.
Teams will start the third period 5-on-5. Remember last year, Latvia tied it up late with 2.5 to go. And then won a shootout in Ottawa. It ranks as one of the biggest upsets in the history of the World Junior Championship. McKenzie fires that back down to the Latvian zone. McKenzie back out there with Harrison Brunick.
Tell him Dale Hunter likes, he starts this both line every game, every period to set the tone. Watch it, dude!
Shipped in by Osmanis. Playing his 5th year in Sweden. There are national team breaks in Europe for under 18s, under 20, and senior teams, but the Latvians have so many players playing in North America that this team is rarely together. Now chipped ahead. Forward to Lefka, moving in. Lefka gets a step and shoots. It's just this short side. It bounces right back in front. And Martone back with it across the Perek. Threads that pass ahead to McGinley. In comes TJ Ginley. Pivots along the board, flies out ahead. Martone throws it back to Perek. A one-time shot that was blocked. And Reed taps it back, but the puck leaves the zone. Cameron Reed to Martone. Drops it back to Reed. Down to the day off tomorrow. We'll take on Denmark, and it's next. Latvia's got the Finns tomorrow. And here tonight, we'll have Czechia taking on Denmark. Now brought ahead by Suraj. This is one of the most dangerous Latvian players here this afternoon. Martone on the tape of Misa moving in. And Misa was poke checked there by Albert Schmitz. Again, Schmitz is a highly touted prospect for the upcoming draft. And Saraskas winds in, has a look and shoots, and deflected it. It was kicked away by Ivan Kovic. Saraskas back with it. Back at the point of the long shot. This one from breath of ice. Ivan Kovic loves that.
The reality for Canada, when it's a 1-goal lead, only every little breakdown, every opportunity becomes a nail-biter. And Levka's got Perek on his back and keeps him there. With some good skating and puck movement, and tries to go short side. Ivan Kovic. Another early chance against us is Blake. He gets a piece of the stick on it. And that close to potentially tying the game for Dmitry Delevska.
Face off won by Reshney. Up to center ice, Maciejewskis. Pass knocked down. Reshney plays it back to Brunick. At the line, that's knocked down. That long point shot taken by Maciejewskis. Dropped down by Ivan Kovic. Brunick. Lead pass. Missed the intended target. Braden Coots on the icing against the Canadians. Reshney picked 18th overall by the Calgary Flames in the last NHL draft. Spent 3 years with Victoria of the Western League before going to North Dakota this year, along with Keaton Verhoff. Verhoff is a healthy scratch for Canada. In fact, has not been added to the roster yet. He and Carter Hare are with the team. They've not been officially added to the Canadian roster. You can wait as long as you want. Joshua Ravensburger, the third goaltender, has been added. He's the backup here this afternoon. Roberts Nudich trying to work that free. Back to the point it goes. Briannas shoots through traffic. Ivan Kovic makes the save. And Coots lobs that back down, and that's going to be icing again, and these tired Canadian players have to stay out.
In each period of this game, the first 2 or 3 minutes haven't been great for Canada. They just haven't sort of been on their toes to start. And Britas, the most recent one to try. Ivan Kovic, that's a bouncing puck off Lutsenko's ankle, and Ivan Kovic's got to find it through all these bodies, and he steers it aside. And Ivan Kovic's thinking, I've had enough of this Latvia team. Second year in a row, he's in a nail-biter with them.
Where's the 7 goals from last night?
Yeah, where's this potent offense?
Ivan Kovic, a Nashville draft pick. UC Saros could identify. He's had some of the lowest goal support in the league the last 5 years. Baudouin in across the line. Baudouin with a sharp angle shot was off the stick.
That was out of the end of the match.
Took a while to make the call, but it finally did come.
So it's interesting to see Canada. We're into the second game. Last night's game was fantastic. It was high paced. We're grinding it out against Latvia here. The third and fourth lines are still trying to find their identity and some offense and some shuffle the deck of who's playing with who and who's playing where in the third and fourth lines. I still think Dale Hunter is searching for more puck play at the bottom end of his roster. These are talented guys, top 5 picks, first rounders, huge scorers. They can clearly do it.
Well, if the past is any indication, go back to 2020, he was tinkering with the line combinations in the third period of the gold medal game. So,
got to play then, I guess. You want your spot.
Reed, back around to O'Reilly. Here's Denoyer on it. Denoyer, back to O'Reilly. Denoyer with a shot tipped wide by Baudouin. Go Baudouin. Knocks that down, and Denoyer stepped hard into Siunskas. At the line, O'Reilly couldn't quite hold it, flips it back down to the Latvian zone, and Canada will change. Baudouin gets a stick in there, but the loose puck picked up by Masievskis. On comes the Misa line for Canada. With McGinley and Martone. We're at the ice, directing traffic. Now racing back is Danford. At the line, the Latvians couldn't hold it. Fired back in by Briannas. Danford up ahead to McGinley. TJ Gimlet gets a step. Up for Misa that bounced off his stick. And the puck goes into the Latvian bench.
It's going to take some sort of rebound tip to try to get one here, and Baudouin almost pulls this one. That's a really nice tip. The defensemen are fronting, so they're trying to block all the wristers or shots from the point. You got to get it past the shot blocker.
You can see his reaction. They go, "Ooh, I was close there."
And he knows it, and you got to find a stick to get a tip, and Baudouin almost did it.
Baudouin, Canada, Ontario native, suburb of Ottawa.
It's also worth noting, and we've talked about, he's wearing an A. Dale Hunter allowed the players to vote for the letters, which I feel like I'm 10 years old again. That's what we used to do. I always make sure I got one vote for captain. My own.
Brunick back around to Hage. That skipped back to center ice. Here is Ethan McKenzie with it. Back across to Brunick. Snaps that pass ahead to McKenna. In comes Gavin McKenna. Drops it off to Hage. Great move. Shoots. And a point-blank save by Martin. Martin tries to knock that free. McKenna comes in to poke it loose. Nadic has it back for Latvia. Roberts Nadic plays it in deep. Brunick back on it. Fingertip hit the referee. Now McKenzie will try the other side. Lead pass to Martin. He's straightened up at center ice by Serkins, who's been terrific for the Latvians here this afternoon. Schmitz winds in, has a step and shoots. That's off the stick of Reed. Up and out of play.
After 2 periods, Canada has only had 4 chances off the rush. We'll make it 5 here as McKenna cross and drop, finds the speed of Page. He flies by his defenseman. And who am I to question his decision-making here alone, but looks to me like he's got far side, a lot of room over the glove if he wanted. He's going so fast. He's got to gather the puck and himself, but I think he knows exactly what I'm saying. The far side was available.
Page, a Mississauga, Ontario native. In his second year at Michigan, the Big Ten Rookie of the Year last year, picked 21st overall by Montreal in the 2024 draft.
You wonder if he find himself in Montreal by the end of the year. You know, finishes his college season, which might go all the way to the Final Four. They hope.
They're ranked number 1 in the nation right now.
But Montreal's having such a good year. Pull everyone out of school is not quite so simple when you're a good team. We've been looking for a second line center there in Montreal.
They might have just traded for one. Their old second line center.
This is true.
Goldenau.
He might be more like third or fourth.
Coots throws it wide. One thing we know about the Canadians, they're not in a rush. That pass is picked off by Serkins. Serkins works back in. Reed stepped into him. Here's Perek back to pick it up. Same Perek. One hand's out ahead. Christian starts. That pass picked up at center ice by Baudouin. Baudouin works it and shoots, and a save made by Marich. And the puck goes up and out. It's day 2 of the 2026 World Junior Hockey Championship here on the campus of the University of Minnesota.
The family at Magic.
These guys went to a hockey tournament, you're watching the game, and the coach always had to come out and say, all right, guys, time to get dressed. Time to get ready.
Right.
I'm hopeful that happens here. These guys want to watch the end of the game. They're like, no, coach, we want to watch the end of the game. Then we'll get ready. I only need 5 minutes to warm up. We're good.
Touch your toes a couple of times, away you go.
Not even.
Visa. Back to Carls. Back across to Danford. Looking for the bank shot at the inboards. Didn't get the carom, but it's still loose for a moment. And Visa having a close look as Maurich kept that out.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's Porter Martone right there. There's a puck bouncing around the side of the net. Of course you're going to dig after it. It's not a penalty. I don't know what Latvia is complaining about. They got lots to complain about in this game, but not this. It's loose. You're sort of taking a swing at it before you get buried with a cross-check from Flugic. But nothing to speak of here for Porter Martone. He draws all 5 Latvian defenders surround him. Canada needs a greasy one like that.
Face off, one back to Danford. Now Carls has to retreat. Holds the line though as he does. And Baudouin chips it back down to the Latvian corner. Kornieks to the line and skipped away from Danford. He swings it back down to the Latvian zone. 7 gone here in the 3rd period. Canada leads 1-0 on a power play goal by Cole Reshty in the 2nd. And the captain, Oscar Brietta, steps up. Blazing sweep. Ahead to Baudouin. And Baudouin steps around Schmitz. Stays on it. Taps that down to O'Reilly. Sam O'Reilly. For Baudouin. Rings it back around to Brunik. And Brunik chips that ahead. Baudouin feeds it back to Brunik. Holds. Goes across to McKenzie. Drops it back in a hail shot that goes wide. And Baudouin picks it back up. Back to McKenzie. Off the inboards, Martone chips it back in front. Great stop inside by Marich. On Desnoyers.
Canada has gone to the intentional miss the net off the backboard option to try to get it down around the front. Almost worked.
Martone picks that free. Swings it back to McKenzie. Look back across. That pass was broken up by Ilyanskas. And the lead pass almost found the streaking Osmanis, but it was in behind him. And now Misa tries to kick it ahead. Well, Jens has broke that up. Almost a clear breakaway for the Latvians there as McKenzie goes back. Battles along the boards. With Nautic. Misa across to Iginla. Teja Iginla lays it back across to Martone jumping in. Martone has a look. In the corner with it, backs it back around to Misa. Loose puck at the side of the goal, couldn't connect there. And Misa, careful not to reach it too much at Moniak as he plays it back down the Canadian zone. And play is called at the Canadian line.
One thing Canada cannot do is let a Latvian player get in behind them, and Osmanis is breaking, and a quick stick from Brunik maybe turns that breakaway aside. And here's the earlier chance. That's off the back wall, tipped by Sam O'Reilly, and that allows Desnoyers to get to the inside position of his defender for one of Canada's better chances in quite some time. Marinch turns him aside. That close. And Caleb Desnoyers almost getting that insurance goal Canada's looking for.
Broken stick for Reshny off the face-off. Quickly gets another. And Reshny winds through center ice. Reshny shoots. And Norris makes the stop on that. There's no rebound.
Ask for Wegovy by name. Visit wegovy.ca for savings.
Latvia's been very stout in defending the front of their net, protecting their goaltender, but they got to be careful here, grabbing masks and pulling helmets off. Reshny's not doing anything wrong there. He's just standing there, stopped before he's wrapped up by Ferris Callum. Don't want to take a needless penalty.
Latvia plays Denmark on December 30th. That'll be the game that they would hope to win to secure a quarterfinal spot and avoid playing in the single-game relegation playoff. They played it 3 years ago and survived. Martin feeds it across. Next shot by Breck was blocked in front. Brought back up by Christian Sartz. Goes after his own shoot in. Reed couldn't get it by him, and now Martin's got it back. Martin looks ahead just out of the reach of McKenna. Orange plays that away. Stepping up is Reed. Looks across to Perek. Slings that back across to Martin. Brady Martin drops for McKenna. Shoots from a sharp angle. Maurich save, and he corrals the rebound. A late poke there from Martin. He's knocked out.
No reaction from the officials. And Brady Martin trying to draw a call. The question is, did he get a cross-check up into his chin? Or is Albert Smith telling him he's faking that one?
Smith's kind of tapped him on the back with his stick after the play had ended.
I don't think that's saying sorry. McKenna goes to the tight angle shots, sealed off. Martin takes a dig. It's 27. Sirdatskas. That's towards the shoulders. Oh, jeez, that's in the chin. But how hard it is, it's still in there, and he knows it. Sirdatskas turns around saying, nobody looking, nobody checking. You're checking your teeth afterwards, legit. But it doesn't look like anything is going to come of this one. And it feels like Canada is close to drawing a penalty on Latvia around the front of their net. It's getting progressively chippier.
Face off in the Latvian zone. It'll be O'Reilly to take it. Draw won by the Latvians. Sionskas moves that back across to Schmitz. And Schmitz goes after his shoot into the Canadian zone. Now Schmitz lost his stick. It's back into play. Here's Aitchison. Thanks to the head for Desnoyers, who chips that down to the Latvian zone. Nicely called against Canada.
Yeah, the crowd here trying to get into it for the first time all afternoon. And the Let's Go Canada breaks out. As they're trying to get some energy in this game is Brady Martin still looking a little confused at how he didn't draw a penalty last time out. Sam O'Reilly's the guy they want for these right side defensive zone face-offs on the ice.
Latvians control, though. Saratskas looks down to Polish. Hansen's tied up by Baudouin. Here's Saratskas in behind the Canadian goal, bangs that back. Ulyanskas got his pocket picked there by Desnoyers. Out to center ice. Knocked down by Brietas. Canada's got to tag back up. Here's Brietas with it. Up to Ulyanskas, who chips that back down to the Canadian zone. 9.5 to go here in the third period. Another knee knocker between Canada and Latvia. He's brought back up by Misa. Brunik is driving with him. Misa. Wide save, looks for Brunik. That pass bounced away from him. Misa behind the goal for Martone. Booknats. Out to center ice, knocked down by Carson Karls. And Iginla lobs that high in the air, the bouncing puck. At center ice, picked up by Iginla. In comes TJ Iginla. Shoots from a sharp angle, Mellons to stop, and again, a late drive. And this time, it's Martone who goes in, but he was shoved in. 8:57 to go here in the third period. Still Canada up 1-0.
She has her own car for Team Canada and their supporters, including Crystal McKenna. She has her own font because she is involved in the game. Crystal, Willie, daughters Madison and Casey have been on the edge of their seat and frequently off the seat with some of the close chances Canada and Gavin have created. I think Gavin picked up an assist on the lone power play goal. Love for him to get one more here. We're under 9 to play. Still a 1-goal game.
McKenna's from Whitehorse, Yukon.
That would have made for some road trips.
Correct. Winds across, shoots, has a skate in front, still bouncing there. Gathered back up by Osmanis. Osmanis on the puck to Perek, who plays it back across to Reed. Looking ahead to Martin for McKenna. Gavin McKenna slides that for Page with a shot that goes off the leg of Vitold. Back the other way is Martins Vitold. Off the puck to Reed. McKenna chips it ahead for Hage. Michael Hage in a high slot for Perek. And now McKenna trying to hold the line. Back at center ice, here's Hage. A funny bounce in the corner, and that's got it back up by Delevka. Brietas being harassed there by Coots. And back up by Delevka. In the corner is Delevka. Got a couple of good looks in this game. Along the boards, picked up by Luchenko. Out with Reshke. Luchenko trying to get a step, but he's erased there by Brietas. Serkins on the other side. Moves it ahead, but that's picked up by McKenzie. And McKenzie gains center ice and wrists it back down to the Latvian zone. Luchenko back in the corner. And here's Ulyanskas for Latvia. Off the skate of Reshke, and Coots trying to get it right back to him. And at center ice, McKenzie knocks that down for Coots. He's shooting in Retton ice. Canada gets fresh legs back out there. This is the O'Reilly, Desnoyers, Baudouin line getting a workout here in the third period.
And they're going to play a lot in the remaining 7 minutes. Every third or more shift.
Karls and Danford back on defense. Maciejskis. That rule off his stick, picked up by O'Reilly. Back across for Desnoyers. To O'Reilly, the pass out of his reach. Now O'Reilly got in the way of that. Danford chips it back down the Latvian zone. Ratanice brings it back around. Held in the line by Karls. Carson Karls with a shot that goes off the skate of Maciejskis. And Baudouin had to leave it there as the play was going to be offside. On come Misa, Martone, and Iginla. Nowdish sandwiched there by Karls and Danford. Misa looks ahead. That pass was knocked down. Schmitz works back in. Martone knocked it away. A race right now. Martone along with Misa. In comes Martone. Winds in. Martone has a look. And that long wrist shot goes wide.
Well played by Schmitz there to stay with him all the way across the zone.
Now McKinley spreads it back for Martone, and then pass it behind for Misa. Misa looks back, and a quick shot there, routed wide by Parekh.
That was the Parekh special there, drag and pull. He did it twice last night, almost got it past Maric.
And now the Latvians ice the puck with 5:41 to go in the third period.
You know, Latvia is pushing a little bit more offensively, so you're going to get some chances going the other way. This is the one. That's how he shoots the puck. Does this just clip? Oh, it deflects on something. Was that TJ Gimley gets a piece? And got to be ready to take it to make a play. That's a good squeeze from Freitas. And not one, but two. Carls and Danforth take a little run at Naudinch.
Siunskas up along the boards. That's chipped by Utnaz, but kept alive by Brunik. Looked at by McKenzie. Now ranging back is Harrison Brunik. Calgary native. Brunik gains center ice and fires that down to the Latvian zone. Now it bounces by Brunik and McKenzie. McKenzie has to race back, as he had Osmanis closing quickly on him. That was kept alive by Ansons. And McKenzie kicks that free. Out along with Hage and McKinnon. Hage winds in. Hage drops it back. Wait, his man shoots at the goalpost. Off the crossbar and out. Now picked up by Hage. Hage required. Martin again shoots and fires that wide. McKenna back on it. And now McKenna pivots back. Martin was spilled in front. McKenna throws that back to Reed. Reed drops it off to Parekh. In comes Zane. Parekh with a chance. Shoots. Howard's got an arm on that. No one knows where the puck is. It bounces back to Reed. He looks for Parekh. Parekh swings it back across. And a hard shot by McKenna. And again, the goaltender, Mauric, is calling for a stoppage as the puck hit him up high.
He's fine.
Makes the stop here to keep it a 1-0 game.
In and shop. Indicated.
Goal line down the gut, beats the goaltender, hits the bar. Crystal McKenna thinks it's in, but it did not get over the goal line. And it has been battle central down in front of the net. Both teams giving as good as they're getting. And the last shot, right in the mask. Mauric wants a whistle and he gets one as Martin got to be careful.
Used to be automatic in the IIHF. The puck hit the goalie in the mask. Play stop.
That was not a good rule.
Now loose. Misa centers it again with a chance inside. Mauric to stop on that. 4 to go here in the third period. Hit by Aginla there. And now Martone plays it back. Sean Aitchison, the Toronto native, gains center ice and fires that down as Martone goes after it. Martone trying to work that free and keep the puck at this end of the ice. Gathered back up by Sirkins. Looks ahead for Delevka. Swinging back is Danforth. Danforth got tied up there by Delevka. And Aginla's got it back. On his backhand, flips that back to center ice. Canada makes a quick change as the O'Reilly line comes on with Desnoyers and Baudouin. Long shot taken there by Siunskas. Knocked up by Evan. The centering pass skips by everyone and back down the ice. The Latvians tied the game last year with 2.5 to go in regulation. Rietas has a look ahead, being watched there by Desnoyers. Naudinch has that pass, bounce back to Parekh. And Parekh snaps that pass ahead to O'Reilly. Rolling puck for Desnoyers. Back down to the Latvian zone as Janskus goes back at the line, held by Parekh. Zane Parekh in for Baudouin. Back across to Reed. Throws that back down low for Desnoyers. He gets loose behind the goal, chips it there, and O'Reilly racing to it. 2.5 to go here in the third period. Nudge. Up ahead for Udnance. Broken up by Reed for Wang. Looks ahead to O'Reilly. O'Reilly a long shot, and Malrich has to hang on to that. With Desnoyers lurking dangerously.
Whistles in the offensive zone are Canada's friend right now. And just trying to do the same things. That fourth line, we're going to call him Baudouin's line, has been really solid. But without the puck.
Out come Hage, Martin, and McKenna.
You're going to start them anywhere. You want them to be in the offensive zone, especially with the face-off struggles of Hage. You don't want him taking anything in his own end.
He's lost 7 of 8 in the game. Lost 10 of 12 last night, so he's in for the draw here against Bears-Collins.
That's how you jump for Gavin McKenna. That's how you support your centerman. Right idea. That was a jump on Latvia.
And one completely by Bears-Collins. We'll keep an eye on the Latvian goaltender Malrich as Brunik goes back for it. Back around to Carls. McKenna reaching for it. Gavin McKenna can't squeeze that by Delevka. Delevka goes back across. Starts a long shot. Ross Bears-Collins ties the game with 1:58 to go. And it's deja vu for Canada against Latvia.
Did he get a stick on that one? No! And they already had one called back that was kicked in. Did he get a kick and a touch? Bears-Collins. And it's another breakdown in the load. Oh, he kicked it off his own stick. It's going to count. That's good. Bears-Collins almost accidentally shoves it sideways into the heel of his stick. Ivan Kovac won't love this rebound, but again, that's not good enough coverage. That is confusion and a breakdown in this man-on-man system. They're going to review this, but it won't take long. It's a kick right off the heel. Yeah, 100%. There's the view you need. This will take 5 seconds. Goal will count. And just like last year, under 3 minutes to play, this time under 2 minutes to play, Malrich doing his best impression Feldberg from last year, and Latvia has tied the game. Ow.
Moved in by Briannis. Here's Perek back on it. Lifts it back to center ice. Across to Misa. That pass misfired. Icing waved off as Ulyanskas goes back. Back to pick it up is Cameron Reed. Across to Martone. He collides there with a Gimlet center ice. And Serkins plays it across. Perek jumps up. Kicks out ahead for Misa. In comes Misa. Going to drop that back now. Perek's got it. Zane Perek looks back across. Desnoyers for Perek. Slaps it back across to Reed. Can't get a shot away. And now he gloves that down. They'll both leave it here with a minute to go and finally touched up by Desnoyers. And hang on, the Latvians are saying the faceoff should be outside, but the officials are ruling it'll be in the Latvian zone.
Albert Smith better relax. He put his hands on the linesman, demanding that puck go outside. And I think what the refs are ruling is that if you intentionally don't play the puck because you know it's a high stick, it stays in your end. And so here comes Canada. Baudouin's line trying to find a last-minute answer. Two officials are still talking about this in the neutral zone.
And they agree.
The face-off will be in the Latvian zone. Baudouin for the face-off against Mornieks. Wins it back to O'Reilly for Danford. Off the end boards, looking for that Karam again. Picked up by
straight out.
Straight out. And that's going to be a minor penalty to Latvia for delay of game.
Now Latvia's saying it went over the bench and not over the glass, but it was pretty demonstrative, and I think this all stems back to that decision to put the face-off in the defensive zone.
It doesn't matter where the puck crossed, it matters where it winds up. So even if the puck crossed that corner of the bench, if it winds up over the glass, it's a penalty.
It wouldn't matter either way. It went over the glass and then the glass again. So Canada, a power play that has been mechanical, as I've called it, has a chance. And they want this done in 51 seconds. They want the full 3 points.
Right.
They want to keep it clean because that matters with the tiebreak scenarios. Got to have a face-off if you're Cole Reshny. Have to have it.
And against Maciejewskis.
Break for Latvia. They're going to blow it down for an early jump for Martin, but they did not.
Away comes Parak. Slides that back to McKenna. Gavin McKenna winds in. McKenna looks across to Reshny. Sets it up for McKenna. 30 seconds to go in regulation. Parak plays it back down to Reshny with Martin posted right up in front. Reshny winds in. Drops it back to Parak. Shoots. That's blocked. That's off a skate up and out. The faceoff will stay in the Latvian zone. 18 seconds to go here in regulation.
All these high-end players for Canada, but it's very stationary. There's 4 guys standing around the perimeter. Their sticks in the air wanting to shoot the puck.
And now they'll change the power play unit. They'll send out,
I don't blame them.
It'll be Misa, Iginla, Luchenko, Martone, the forwards. Parak stays out there.
Right side, needed a strong right side centerman as well for this one.
And once again, Maciejewskis to take the draw for Latvia. Luchenko wins it back. Parak in, shoots. That was blocked. Parak able to hold his own. Latvians are arguing it came out. Luchenko, time winding down. In comes Parak. Same Parak. Swings it back across for Misa. Misa shoots. That's blocked. Time winding down. Misa Nedelik fires again. Blocked by Maciejewskis.
Amazing.
And this game will go to overtime.
What an effort.
For the second straight year, Latvia scores a late equalizer. And Canada will have 1 minute and 9 seconds of power play time to carry over into the overtime.
Correct. Did in fact keep this one in. Somehow found a way. And it did not matter because Maciejewskis would not let a puck go through. Kick save and a beauty. Eats that one in the calf. Not going to stay down. You got to get right back up and take another one before being helped off the ice by his teammates. Now an inch in the box, living and dying with every second. Latvia gets at least 1 point.
On to overtime we go again in a Canada-Latvia game. Wow.
We're scamming.
Play. It's 5 minutes of OT and if necessary a shootout. In the preliminary round, in the quarterfinals, semis, and bronze medal game, it's a 10-minute overtime. The gold medal game is unlimited overtime until a winner is scored.
And it'll be 4-on-3 if Canada doesn't score in the minute 9. Then it's 4-on-4 until there's a whistle. And now that hopes he gets on the ice to make that happen.
Orange has stopped the last 23 shots he's faced since he was beaten on the power play by Reshny in the second period. Page, McKenna, along with Martin and Parak start the power play for Canada. Maciejewskis, who was heroic in that penalty kill late in the period, starts the OT. Tap back by Martin. For Parak. Zane Parak lays it ahead for Hage. Michael Hage works in as Canada gets set up. Hage pivots back across, crisscrossing with McKenna. Parak Looks for McKenna. Back to Parekh. Across the Page. He missed time the one time. Page back down to Martin. 45 seconds to go on the power play. Page with it. Works it back to Parekh. To McKenna. McKenna steps it back in front. Great stop by Marriage. In tight on Martin. What a stop there.
At some point, you just can't let guys tackle the guy in front of the net. Breedish is all over anyone who gets near him. And it's a really good look here, McKenna through the seam. It's tough to elevate this if you're Martin. Watch Breedish come in at the end. Bury a guy from behind and put him in a headlock. And that puck deflected up. Martin couldn't quite find the angle to redirect it into the net.
Now Reshny will come on to take the face-off. After this close call for Martin, who goes off. Once again, Maciejewskis to take the face-off for Latvia. Reshny wins it. Back to McKenna. To Parekh. Cross. Page. To Parekh. Page. Trying to slap pass it back to Wonders. McKenna looks back across. They score! Michael Page, overtime winner, and Canada takes it 2-1. Latvia takes Canada to the distance and then some again. But this time Canada comes out on top 2-1 in overtime. Once upon a time, these games were foregone conclusions for Canada. Not anymore. What a performance by the Latvians.
Gutsy, and it took a bit of a fortunate bounce to set up the seam. Page is trying to pass this puck down to the front of the net, but it ends up right onto McKenna's stick. And as Latvia collapsed, reading the pass to the net, that opened up the seam going back the other way. Watch this puck carom right to McKenna, and all of a sudden the clean seam is open, and it's too far for Marriage to go. McKenna puts it right where Hage needs it, puts the heel on it, make sure he gets all of it, and elevates into the open net. Canada gets the win. 2 out of 3 points. That was not as easy. Elevates into the open net. Canada gets the win. 2 out of 3 points. That was not as easy as Canada was hoping for at all. Yeah, McKenna's mom finally gets to celebrate that one as her son picked up 2 more points in this game.
And it's just of both goals. You got 4 in 2 games.
Gutsy effort for Latvia.
Final shots 38-27 in favor of Canada. And now the player of the game presentations and then the Canadian national anthem.
10,000 ranked Brinks mural, specially commissioned for the 2026 IIHF World Junior Championship, and finished with the player of the game patch. Designed by Minnesota-based Indigenous artist Shauna Boulette-Greipentine as part of the Assist 26 community initiative, the artwork honors the indigenous lands, cultural teachings, and deep hockey roots that define Minnesota. In addition, a donation will be made on behalf of each Player of the Game award to the Mosaic Hockey Collective. For the playing of the national... And now, fans, we ask you to please rise if you are able for the playing of the national anthem of Canada.
James Duffy back with you. A carbon copy of last year in Ottawa, except with an alternate